Our last topic in Lesson 19 is called Evaluation of Powers. And as you can see on the screen here, I have two expressions. And what we've already talked about is there is a big difference between the expression on the left and the expression on the right. And just wanted to hit on this one more time. On the expression on the right, you're going to square the two and then take the opposite of that answer. So in other words, the way I'd read this expression is I would read it as the opposite of 2 squared. That's how I would read that. The opposite of 2 squared. So take 2 squared, which is 4. What's the opposite of 4? And I get a negative 4. Now on the expression on the right, I would read this, since it's in parentheses, I would read this a negative 2 squared. So whatever's in the parentheses, I'm going to square. So I'm going to take a negative 2 times a negative 2, and in this situation, I get a positive 4. All right, let's take a look at example 1, and let's get to the main topic here with the, this video, which is evaluation of powers. Now, the directions ask us to evaluate x squared, z cubed, and y. So x squared times z cubed times y. Now, before I start with this, let's just make sure we understand what's happening in this expression. Now, first of all, whatever x is, I'm going to square. Whatever z is, I'm going to cube. And then I have just y here, which I'm going to do nothing with. Now, let me ask you a question. What's going on between the x, the z, and the y? And you should see that as multiplication. So whatever I get when I square x, I'm going to take that times whatever z cubed is times y. So really I could write, I could put a raised dot in between those to show that it's x squared times z cubed times y. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place these values in for the letters. So whatever x is, I'm going to square. So x is a negative 3. So whatever x is, I need to square it. So I need to put that in parentheses, meaning that whatever x is, I'm going to square. And then I'm going to take that times z cubed. Whatever z is, which is a negative 2, I need to cube that. And then I'm going to take that times y, which is a negative 2. Now probably the confusing part on this is, why do I have to have the negative 3 and the negative 2 in parentheses? And really it goes back to just understanding the meaning of what this is here. Whatever x is, I have to square. So if I wrote it like this, if I wrote x squared as a negative 3 squared, that's not what this is saying. Because remember when on the previous screen, this means the opposite of 3 squared. I square the 3 and then I take the opposite of that. This is meaning that whatever x is, I have to square it. I have to write it with parentheses around it. Now let's evaluate these powers. So a negative 3 times a negative 3 is 9 times, what's a negative 2 times a negative 2 times a negative 2? Negative 8 times a negative 2. Now simplify this. 9 times a negative 8 is a negative 72 times a negative 2, and I'm going to get a positive 144 is the evaluation of this expression. Alright, in example 2, same thing, we're to evaluate b squared minus 4ac. Now, I know what b, a, and c is, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place those values in for the letters. But now whatever b is, I'm going to square it. So whatever b is, I need to square that. So it needs to be in parentheses. Remember, I can't just write it like this. If I get rid of the parentheses, I can't write it like this, because then I would be squaring the 4 and taking the opposite of that. That's not what this is saying here. All right, so I need to have parentheses around it. I'm going to square whatever b is minus 4 times whatever a is, which is a negative 3, times whatever c is, which is a negative 5. Now remember, use your order of operations here. So in PEMDAS, I don't have any parentheses to do work inside of. Do I have any e exponents? Yes, I do. Negative 4 times the negative 4 is a positive 16, minus the 4 times the negative 3 times the negative 5. Now do I have any multiplication? Yes, I do. So I have 16 minus, let's see, 4 times the negative 3 is a negative 12. And a negative 12 times a negative 5 is a positive 60. Now subtract 16 minus 60. 16 degrees above 0 drops 60 degrees. My answer better be negative. And so if it drops 60 degrees, let's see here. So let's see, the difference between 60 and 16 would be, let's see, 50, 40, 44. So a negative 44 degrees. Yep, and that should be right. Okay, so we have evaluated b squared minus 4ac. All right, let's take a look at the next example. All right, example 3. Same thing I'm evaluating. Now, there's a little difference between these. I'm going to take the opposite of whatever x squared is, minus y cubed. Whatever y is, I'm going to cube it. So this is the part right here that you need to be careful with. Whatever you get when you take x squared, you're going to take the opposite of it. So square x, so whatever x is, have it in parentheses, square it, and then take the opposite of that answer. So let's go through and do that. So I have the opposite of whatever x squared is, minus whatever y is, I'm going to cube it. Alright, so now using PEMDAS, is there any parentheses to do work inside of? No. Is there any exponents? Answer is yes. So I'm going to do my exponents here and here. So let's see, work from the inside out. A negative 3 squared, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Now take the opposite of 9, I get a negative 9 out of that. Minus, what's a negative 2 times a negative 2 times a negative 2? Negative 8. Right, minus minus is plus, and I get a negative 1. Right, last example that I have, example 4. Let's substitute in the values for the letters. Right, so whatever a is, I'm going to square, minus, then I'm going to take b and I'm going to square it, and I'm going to take that answer times a. So whatever b is, I'm going to square, so 3 then squared, times whatever a is. So, and actually I don't need to have a raised dot and a set of parentheses, so times a negative 2. Now be careful with your order of operations. So PEMDAS. So is there any parentheses to do work inside of? No. Is there any exponents? Yes. So a negative 2 times a negative 2, and that's this is a 2 right there, a little sloppy 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, minus, what's 3 times 3? 3 squared is 9 times the negative 2, right? Now, I don't have any work in parentheses. I did have some exponents. Do I have any multiplication? Yes. I got to do that first. So 4 minus a negative 18, which becomes 4 plus 18, which is 22. So the evaluation of this is 22. Now I want to go back to a previous slide here just to make sure I got the correct answer before.